Bam! Look at this. And away we go. So welcome into the Shattered Temple. This is a very special Protoss versus Protoss. Spawning down here in the 6 o'clock position is our red Protoss player, RGN.Inori. And spawning over here in the 9 o'clock position is the blue Protoss player, LiquidHerO. This game I took from TL Pro, and it should be a lot of fun. These are two of my favorite players. Hopefully you guys enjoy them as well. Again, I am using the color mod. I am colorblind. If you like it, if you hate it, please let me know. Email any feedback you have, meristmatic@gmail.com. Don't forget, I will have a show match for us tomorrow. That'll start at noon Pacific time. That's 1 Mountain time, which is where I am. And that should be a lot of fun, so please tune in. And right now, both players, mirroring each other exactly. It's very Protoss versus Protoss. And Shattered Temple's a good map for this. There's a lot of open space between them, and they're close by air. So maybe we'll see a couple of Phoenixes, even. Phoenix builds becoming more popular. This is a fairly recent replay. So we could see that. We could just see more standard things like Blink Observer or an Immortal build. You do see mirroring each other exactly in the production queue. Inori gateway like 2 seconds faster than Heroes, but it's a Heroes simulator is 2 seconds faster. And actually checking alertly for anything proxy back here in the smoke, as well as putting a pylon back there just to make sure he's not caught off guard. I believe this was played on the Korean server, if that matters to anybody. But both of these players are very good pro players. And Inori will get in here, he'll have the first scout, and should essentially see that everything's mirrored up. The cybernetic score going down, it looks like about actually a 1 second difference, with Inori's being just that slight amount faster. And I'm curious to see what both players will do. Again, interesting map, and Inori steals Hero's gas. This is an important move, actually, as it'll delay Hero's tech route that much. He'll have enough, essentially, to be able to get down his robotics if that was his original plan, but his Observer or his Immortal might be delayed. So Inori should know that he'll have the tech advantage just based on this assimilator finishing. In the old days, this would force your opponent into a 4-gate, but that's not so much anymore. It is annoying to deal with, but nothing quite like that. We do see the Warp Gate as well as Stalkers on the way for both players, and the Warp Gate 3 seconds faster for RGN.Inori. Not that that matters a whole lot. Zealot's going to town now on the simulator, and just look at the gas disparity. Not a huge amount, but delaying 50 gas in Protoss versus Protoss can be the difference between having an Immortal and not having an Immortal. We do see LiquidHerO, because he had more minerals essentially than he wanted, able to throw down a second gateway and then his robotics facility, whereas Inori just going straight for the robotics facility. We should see another gateway going down as well. Currently boosting out this Stalker, so we've got 2 Stalkers and a Zealot, to 2 Zealots and Stalker of LiquidHerO, but neither player able to put on much pressure. And it doesn't look like they want to. A Sentry, actually, an interesting choice for Inori, spending his gas on an extra Sentry. Won't exactly help him in the fight. So we could see some more economic build, perhaps, from Inori, but right now just going up to 3 gates in a robotics facility, compared to the 2 gates in a robotics facility of LiquidHerO. But both players should feel relatively safe. Actually, Hero getting a Sentry as well. Just a little bit wary of any early pressure. Neither player exactly known for doing 4 gates in this matchup, but just being safe, getting out that Sentry. We do see the Observer, an Observer first coming out from Inori. I'm losing my head a little bit. Meanwhile, LiquidHerO's Observer already done, headed out across the map. Actually, there's already one for Inori. There it is. Oh, whoa. No, that's a probe. The observers actually pass by each other. Interestingly enough, there was a second observer, I believe. This is a pro back here. But regardless, both players getting good scouts off on their opponent. Hero going more for Zealots right now. He does have the first Immortal of the game out, and that's an important lead to have. Meanwhile, Inori answering with an Immortal of his own. There's the Robotics Bay going down now for LiquidHerO, and he'll have Colossus significantly before his opponent. The Robotics Bay nearly is already finished for Inori, actually. Whoa. I'm sorry, I'm not doing a very good job keeping my eye on everything right now. I'm just pretty tired. Regardless, the Gravitic Drive upgrade for Warp Prisms coming up for Inori, and started 5 seconds afterward. Gravitic Drive upgrade on the way for LiquidHerO. So we'll see 2 Warp Prisms at least in this game. Meanwhile, observers just chasing each other into the corner. This one stalker trying to get him, but it's not going to matter too much for Hero. And this is interesting. Warp Prisms, actually the Warp Prism will be up a little bit sooner, but the Gravitic Drive upgrade a little bit later for LiquidHerO, as opposed to Inori. And we'll see what they load up into these. Immortal drops can do a lot of damage to these exposed pylons, and can be very annoying to deal with. Or if you can catch your opponent's army moving out of his base, you can do a sentry drop, just force field off this ramp. But the Warp Prism for LiquidHerO actually should spot the Warp Prism from Inori and able to warp in a couple of units. These Immortals picked up immediately. Actually, both players just picking up Immortals and dropping them. And now Hero's Warp Prism will move out and try and go around. The Warp Prism for Inori, meanwhile, scooting around. And the Hero actually dropping on the low ground. He picks off the pylon. That'll supply block Inori briefly. So some good harassment there. And the Warp Prism's now chasing each other. Inori's choosing to stop here, and he'll head back to his opponent's base. And this game got weird all of a sudden. Inori, meanwhile, drops his Warp Prisms. He'll be able to get this pile out of Hero, and then pick up and leave. Doesn't want to lose that Warp Prism, taking a little bit of damage. The drop here actually does a little bit of damage again to Inori and supply blocks him yet again. Inori's Warp Prism still moving around. He's going to drop down in this smoke area and take out this pylon. And he'll pick up... No, he doesn't quite get it. 4 hit points left on that. LiquidHerO, meanwhile, dropping and harassing this pylon. And he'll actually supply block again. So Hero doing a good job harassing his opponent. And actually cycle dropping these Immortals to do a little bit of army damage now to Hero. But Inori pretty severely supply blocked this Warp Prism, doing a good job for Hero. And that's allowing him actually to catch up in the supply count. Meanwhile, LiquidHerO taking an expansion. The very rare expansion in PvP, but he knows that his opponent's been under pressure due to his Warp Prism. Meanwhile, Inori getting the Phoenix, maybe hoping to find his opponent's Warp Prism, but as you see, it's in his base. Target fires the robotics facility, but unable to do a whole lot of damage to it. And the Warp Prism's still just scooting a boot. And he does spot the Stargate now. That's a nice pickup by Inori. But this Phoenix might be able to trap it, and actually the 2 Warp Prisms meet up again. But Inori smartly falls back. Inori going for an expansion now. I believe he scouted... Oops, whoa, this one. No, he still doesn't know his opponent has a Nexus. But he might have guessed based on the relative army size. LiquidHerO, meanwhile, has a 12 supply lead, mostly resulting from that huge supply block. Another drop there. And the Warp Prism gets away again. So these 2 Immortal hit squads doing a lot of damage to each other. Inori's still scooting around with his Warp Prism. He'll drop it down at the natural and kill a couple of probes off. I'm not sure we've had... Nope, 2 workers to 1 killed. So not a significant amount of damage. And actually these stalkers might be able to pick it off. Nicely done by Inori, dropping off his Immortals. And he will be able... Oh! Whoa, the counter Immortal drop. And Inori's going to have to get out of there. His Warp Prism's pretty low health. He doesn't want to lose it, though, because two Immortals are hard to come by. And actually the Warp Prism's chasing each other up to the middle of the map. Actually dropping off Stalkers here to try and pick off his opponent's Warp Prism. Nicely played by LiquidHerO, dropping behind the Immortals. The Immortals should be able to deal with his opponent's Stalkers. Nicely done by Inori, winning the Warp Prism shenanigans battle. And he does take out most of the Stalkers. There's one Stalker left, and this is a really intense little micro battle. Inori does pick up. Will he lose the Warp Prism? Oh, he gets away with 3 shields and 4 health. Hero's still chasing it down with the one Stalker, and Inori needs to drop these Immortals off pretty close to his army here. Meanwhile, Hero going for the move out. He has 3 Colossus. His opponent actually also has 3. So both players still mirroring each other here. 7 supply lead for LiquidHerO. If we look at the Harvester count, 32 to 36. So ahead by 4 workers and 3 army supply. And Hero just kind of gathering up his army here, and we'll see what he wants to do. The Warp Prism for Inori still alive, has regained most of its shields. The Zealot moving out across map just to check things. He might have forgotten about the probe back here. It might just be here for proxy later on. The Warp Prism for Hero, meanwhile, moving back in. It's got 3 Zealots and a Stalker in it. I don't believe it was spotted. It should have been now. I think it got within vision range of the Extractor. But the empty Warp Prism for Inori now, mostly just doing scouting here, a couple Zealots following it around. And it looks like Hero's just going to go back and spot for it with his own Warp Prism. And just kind of a bizarre game. These Warp Prisms scooting across the map, able to do damage to each other. If we look at resources lost, we see in favor of Inori right now, but his expansion was a little bit later. And actually, Inori has regained the supply lead up by 2. There's a lot of harassment when it was done by Hero with those Immortal drops, and it does look like Inori's Warp Prism not quite going to be caught. Meanwhile, Hero, no, that's a probe. Excuse me. Have I lost track of it? Nope, there it is. Actually dropping down. Will he be able to intercept it? The one Stalker trying to do what he can, but Inori going to get away with his Warp Prism again. A couple of Phoenixes in here for Inori. And the counterattack here. Will he be able to pick off the Warp Prism? No, he's going to have to pull back before he loses any of them. This is actually a pretty big investment from Inori. These 4 Phoenixes as well as the Stargate make up a lot of resources. So he'll need to do some damage for it. If nothing else, they'll be pretty good against his opponent's Colossi when the fight does come. Hero, meanwhile, blocking this expansion for no particular reason. It does look like he wants to take his 3rd, which is very surprising in Protoss versus Protoss. Inori, meanwhile, moving in with the Phoenixes. He's going to pick off a couple stray Zealots and, you know, just do what damage he can, and he'll get away safely. So nice little pickup. We do see the Twilight Council coming down from Inori just to try and get some more mobility probably with or charge, and see if he can transition into perhaps going into Zealot Archon. Meanwhile, LiquidHerO actually finds that pilot, and that's a nice catch there by Inori. I saw some Dark Templars in the protection field. Where are they? Meanwhile, these Phoenixes back again to do a little bit of harassment damage, just picking up a couple of probes, and they'll be able to get out safely. Oh, an aggressive blink there by Hero, but unable to pick off any of the Phoenixes. So again, Inori doing a lot of damage with those Phoenixes. If nothing else, just keeping his opponent honest. If we look, the resources lost still significantly in favor of Inori. He's up by 8 workers to 2. And the Phoenix fleet moving back across the map. There's a Zealot at the watchtower that'll be able to deter them. And Hero now setting up. He does have a blink. And Inori going for that Zealot leg charge. We'll probably see some Templar to follow up, Templar Archives or something. Meanwhile, the Warp Prism here loaded up 2 DTs and a Zealot. I'm actually not sure if Inori could spot it. But LiquidHerO looking to do some damage with that. His Observer moving up on the high ground, and these Stalkers will be able to blink in. And I'm not sure Inori's ready for this. His entire army's down here except for these Phoenixes, and this Colossus goes down immediately. That's a huge win for Hero, and able to take out one of the Phoenixes as well. Now target firing the robotics facility. He does have blink again. If he can get it, that's a huge victory for him. He does, and he's able to blink out with a lot of his Stalkers. Really nicely done by LiquidHerO. Able to take at least a decisive robotics advantage. So if he powers out a couple more Colossus